This is Mike and Sean with Talking Tickets. We are talking Gibby meets Freddie, Lebron, Bronny, and Goldin Auctions review. And the intro.
Hey, Mike.
Sean.
Back again.
We are back. Try not to space these things too far out. I figure if you're all the chaos of tomorrow night and the rest of the week, see if we could slide one in tonight.
Well, the world's still whole,
That's right.
not on fire.
While we're still calm, no craziness.
Right.
We're in this like lull where the World Series is over. We got regular sports,
Perfect.
but the election, the night before the election. So figure we'd try to get one in and maybe talk a little bit about I want to start off talking about the World Series. It's over.
Yeah. That was other than game one, it was kind of a snooze fest, wasn't it?
I know you thought it was going to be this epic series after game one, but that's kind of how the Dodgers Oakland, wasn't that a sweep back in the day?
Yeah. I mean, I remember the 88 World Series really well because it was one of the first when I was 10 years old and I was rooting for the A's because I was living in the Bay Area at the time. And that first game was, heartbreaking. But at the time I thought, that's no big deal. It's just one game. And it wasn't until years later that I kind of, after getting older and watching documentaries and stuff on it, that realized that game set the tone for the series. And really there was no looking back for the Dodgers. And the A's were heavily favored in the 1988 World Series.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, why were they so heavily favored? How did the Dodgers end up being the having home field? Do they have the better record?
I don't know I think back then they just switched it each year between the two leagues, maybe, if that was the case.
Yeah, but I remember the same thing going into that series, like, oh, Oakland's going to crush them. They got the Bash brothers, and then it all turned on a dime in game one. And then were you watching the World Series game one?
This year? Yeah, definitely. It was, and that was exactly what I thought. Exactly what I thought after that happened. This series is going to be a sweep or 5 games because both teams in that game threw everything they had, gave everything they had to win game one, to set the tone, and the Dodgers did it in such dramatic fashion that it was pretty much over at that point. I'm sure that's how the history will be written when all the interviews and stuff come out, because that was it. It really was never even close or even competitive after that.
Yeah, I was watching the dual TVs and us had the the Dodgers on silent, and I was like, oh man, I got to turn this up. I go, this is pretty crazy. This is very similar to what happened, in '88. You should know what I'm talking about. I'm watching it. And I'm just like, I saw him hit it, and I saw him raise the bat up. I'm like, oh my gosh, he just walked to the salt. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's remarkable how similar it was to '88, even the whole series, because everyone talked about how poorly Judge performed, but go back and look at how Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco performed in the '88 World Series. It was far worse.
Right.
It was remarkable how there's so many parallels starting from game one to the 1988 World Series. It was really interesting to watch. So fascinating.
And that leads us to, this is Talking Tickets, so we got to talk about a ticket that is now insanely rare. It's insanely historical. And this is kind of the yin and the yang. Okay, you got the Gibson ticket, right? Where there's hundreds of them because everybody kept them. It was a home game. Everybody got a hard ticket to this now where it's, okay, nobody got tickets except for the random few who got a printout or knew somebody at the box office or played the lost my phone trick and worked out. And I've only seen, 2 of these. There's one on eBay. The guy has it at $10,000 best offer.
Yeah.
Who knows if he really wants to sell it. Crazy price. And then another guy has his at 2,000 auction. and 4,000 buy it now.
Well, so I looked on past sales, and it looked like there was one that was pretty legitimate looking that had sold, I think, for 4,000 or around there. Did you
Is
see
that
that
what
one?
one went for? No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, and it was at auction. So this, I don't know. This one kind of, I question it just because it's standing room only. And so anytime there's a standing room only, it could have easily been printed, after the fact, because there's no, it doesn't assign to a certain seat. Standing room only I hesitate on those, but the other one, the $10,000 one, that one actually has a seat assignment, which is interesting, and it's kind of roughed up, so you kind of presume that the person had it at the game.
Right.
That one's interesting. But obviously $10,000 is ridiculous. But the other one, the one that had sold, was similar to this one. It had a seat assignment, and it was roughed up.
Let's take a look. So just be 2020 World Series ticket, right? Because I didn't see this. I usually find these things pretty easily. So let's take a look. And it was an eBay sale?
Yeah, it was eBay. I thought it was, or I looked it up under.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, they didn't put 2024. Interesting.
Okay.
Wonder who bought this. So here we go. This was another seated Loge, 4,150. Damn.
Yeah. So
if you had to put a value on this, what do you think the value of this ticket is let's say a year from now?
Yeah, that's so hard to say because we don't know how many will. It's still too early to tell if there was a number of them or if this is really just one of a small handful. If it's one of less than 10 that exist, then it's easy. 4,000. That's probably a good number for it. But if hundreds come out somehow, or even dozens, even 50, 60 come out, and then I don't think it's as desirable. But it'll be an epic World Series game linked to the Gibson so closely. There's no way it won't ever be important. So yeah, it'll only grow in its historic importance. And Freddie Freeman is likely a Hall of Famer, depending on how his career finishes out. So that'll add to it. Also, it'll be his career defining moment. So a lot of things there that.
It was a grand slam too, right?
Yeah, and it was a grand slam, and it was against the Yankees in this long,
epic
rivalry that the Yankees and Dodgers have had. Yeah, so everything about it is makes it highly desirable. So
right, him and Gibson, both lefties. Obviously, Freeman wasn't as injured as Gibson, but he is dealing with that ankle injury all playoffs.
Yeah,
but then of course lit it up and hit the home run. Tom stated that that guy declined my $100 offer. Shake my head. Playing hardball, I guess. So I kind of compared the two. I kind of did the math. Here's game one Stub, and this is kind of gives you an idea now of some tickets that are just getting so autoed where it's just getting insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like this Gibson ticket the stub's been autographed 136 times. And there's only 24 fulls, so 35 fulls, 11 have been autographed. So I put a little thing together kind of showing basically, the total graded tickets, 317. I put like average price, 315. So I put a market cap, gives it a market cap of like 100,000. And so I was like, well, if you did the math on that, what would the market, if you just did the equivalent, but we don't, the problem is we don't know how many tickets are out there. Say there's only 10 tickets, would it really be I feel like it's an equally valuable ticket as, the Gibson.
Yeah.
Very similar.
And it might end up being more important.
Right.
It depends on how the rest of the story turns out. If Freddie Freeman, gets popped for steroids or has some kind of scandal, which I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if it did happen, it could negatively impact things. But who knows? Yeah, the story's still unfolding.
Right. And I guess say there's 10 total tickets. It's still hard to think of that as being a $10,000 ticket. Maybe we'll see like 20 to 25 eventually trickle out. If I had to guess, I guess that's a number I would put at like 15 to 20. But you never know with these things. It could be way less. It could be way more. Some season ticket holder could have schmoozed, some broker could have schmoozed his rep and said, hey, just, print these out for me.
Or just some insider who worked at the stadium or worked in the box office, or, there's always a way to get these, especially when they know. But the other thing is they didn't know beforehand. A lot of these games, like the game where LeBron broke the record, or the Bronny game that we're going to talk about, kind of that it's going to happen prior, so that people have time to prepare for it. But nobody knew that this was going to happen, although it was a World Series game, so there was some desirable aspect there.
I don't know if it's a good comparison, but the World Baseball Classic, the final turned into an epic game and an epic ending. And I really haven't seen hardly any of those tickets floating around, a week after the event. It's not like I saw a deluge of 10, 20, 30 tickets. It basically hardly just stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a good comparison, except for I think that this one's probably more widely desired prior to the event. So people might have wanted to figure out how to get a physical ticket if they had gone. So yeah, and the Dodgers, the Collect did that story about this being the first World Series where there wouldn't be any printed tickets, and the Yankees, absolutely not. Definitely not. Nobody's going to get a printed ticket there. I think everybody was in agreement there, but the Dodgers do have a few trickle out here and there. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, where maybe 2-3 years down the road, we'll kind of have a better idea of how many will be there.
I got my opening Mavericks printed ticket again. So they're still officially printing. I know that excites you. They're still doing it.
The fact that they're printing excites me. So do you have to do something special? Or
it was again, it was the opener. I was like, oh, the Spurs got they got a high pick, but he's not going to turn out to be anything. And, you can't play that card more than maybe once or twice a year. I can't imagine me trying to get another printed ticket. You do that enough. I may talk to my rep and be like, hey, games I know I'm going to, can you print them out for me?
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of a last minute decision. So I did the whole, I don't have my phone and my friend, I'm meeting them. And they are like, real quick, boom, 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 boom. All right, great. Printed it out.
Wow.
But of course, my other friend tried to get in and he called me. He's like, hey, my ticket won't work. The rep basically changed his ticket too. Like they printed it out, but didn't. So then he had to go back, and I was like,
his digital ticket wouldn't work.
Yeah. So he had to go back and talk to the guy. Be like, hey.
Well, like, so do they charge you extra for that, or is it just
no? It's free. I'm a season ticket holder. I think it makes it real easy. They pull up my account. They ask me a few questions. Maybe my ID, and they're like, okay, here you go. For the finals, though, they asked me like 20 questions. They weren't really messing around in the finals, but for the opener, they're just like, okay, here you go.
Yeah. I wish that the Mariners had customer service like that. do you call them, or do they respond to emails that quickly?
No, I did it at the window.
Oh, wow.
So I walked up to the window where they have their season ticket account window, and they have everything organized. But the little printer box was right behind him. He just hit a few buttons and turned around and tore the ticket. It was like, here you go.
Easy.
It's like, sweet. They still exist.
Yeah, that's nice.
So back to the Dodgers. Somebody posted this on Boogers. I think it was Jeremy. I want to get your thoughts on this. It was the Dodgers. Guy is selling Dodgers official ticket stub stock. Create your own World Series. You've seen this, right?
I did not see that, but that's a bit concerning. If I was Matt with PSA, I'd be paying attention to this, because it only takes, to my knowledge, and I'm not an expert obviously, but you would need this along with some kind of printer, like the guy in the office that you were talking about that he turned around and grabbed. Like if you had that printer along with this stock, why couldn't you create a ticket that, you know, is authentic?
Right.
So what would be stopping you? I don't know how to get that printer, or if it's, you know, proprietary such that you wouldn't be able to, an ordinary person wouldn't be able to get one, but, you know, maybe it shows up in some auction, some liquidation auction or something. And yeah, this is something I've thought about before when I've seen blank stock out there, and you see blank stock from various seasons and teams, you know, every once in a while show up in an auction or something like that. And I've thought about that same thing. If somebody had a printer that could print in the same font, and some of these older season tickets are so faded or so smudged, or sorry, box office tickets are so smudged that you can't really tell what it even says half the time, or, you know, like what part of it says. So it wouldn't have to be super legible. It just have to be, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to tell that PSA has that I, you know, that we're not aware of, but it would be kind of concerning.
Yeah, I would leave that up to the PSA boys to figure that one out, because you know, all the reasons you gave, it would be quite concerning. I don't know if I've seen a few others. I know that Messi debut. I remember a guy had like a whole roll of ticket stock for that blank.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any other random ones I've seen that kind of stuck out, but like you said, I guess they pop up randomly here and there.
Yeah.
Of some blank stock.
I always look at Mariner tickets, and I've seen some blank stock of, say, 1989, you know, full ticket, never used, nothing on it, 1989 Mariners. And so if you had the ability to print April 10th on that and then just copy all of the other information that you see on a different ticket, then you have Ken Griffey Jr.'s first home run. So it's, you know, I don't know. Something I've thought about that before and been concerned about it. And, you know, it is something that I would maybe consider if I saw one on the market that looked fresh and clean and everything like that, you know, might lead me to shy away from it a little bit. But I'm just paranoid that way.
You know, speaking of Griffey and Griffey Jr., wanted to bring up this one. The Bronny game happened. It was about a week or two ago. I know you're not a basketball man,
Yeah,
but you are a Griffey Jr. man.
Yeah. So, you know, I have an opinion on this.
Right. I want to hear your thoughts on this one.
You're right. I'm not a basketball guy, but from what I understand, Bronny James is not very good. Is that right?
Right. And that's kind of the interesting thing, because LeBron's, I mean, an all-timer, top 1, 2, 3, however you want to rate him.
Yeah.
But his kid's is kind of role player at best, only played because his dad's LeBron. Probably should be in the G League.
Wasn't he so mediocre in college that he probably shouldn't have been drafted?
He probably would have stuck around for another year or two, and then possibly would have got drafted in the second round, you know, which is the last round of the draft.
But he only played, what, one season in college?
Yeah, so he left after his freshman year. Since he's Bronny James, basically it was probably ideal because they knew nobody would probably take him because he wasn't worth taking. So LeBron, they could get him in the second round.
Yeah.
And then he could play with his kid.
Right.
So
it's a gimmick.
It is gimmick. It's very gimmicky.
Yeah. I mean, that's not to take anything away from LeBron James's career. That's he's had an incredible career, but I mean, you know, he's had such a great career that his influence could maybe sway the Lakers to draft his son to realize his lifelong dream of playing with his son. I don't know. Are the Lakers good? Are they a good team?
They could be really good this year. They always kind of underachieve. You know, they got LeBron and Anthony Davis, and they have Anthony Davis get injured. They have no other players, but they could be really good this year. But I mean, was it gimmicky for the Mariners to trade for Griffey Sr.?
Well, yes, of course it was. But Griffey Sr. in that season in that season, he batted 377. So,
How do you know that?
Well, look it up. And the following season, he signed again. So he played 2 seasons with the Mariners. So it wasn't like he was just had nothing left to contribute. He was still a contributing player on the team. And the next year, or the second season, he batted almost 300. I think it like 286 or something. So it wasn't like he was, it wasn't completely a gimmick. Obviously, it was that, the Mariners weren't very good at that time, and they could use this to get butts in the seats. That was obvious. I don't think anybody would have, questioned that. But Ken Griffey Sr. still had some production left.
I actually like this ticket more than most people, and I actually feel like, given it's LeBron, that it is, I think, not as valued as it should be. Now, I don't know what it should be worth. I'm a little surprised this one's still out there because I don't see any others on eBay. It is LeBron. I don't think any others have sold. So to me, I'm like, God, you know what? It's freaking LeBron James. I know it's his kid, and Bronny's kind of a know-nothing and probably will never amount to much, but he could be good. But to me, it's like the only one. But then again, I've seen Laker tickets like the LeBron, record-setting game, and dozens and dozens and dozens have came out. So you'd almost expect a lot more to come out. This guy.
I'm surprised that there's not more. I'm surprised that there isn't dozens of them on eBay right now, because that is a historic moment, and it is a cool companion to go with the Griffey father-son game and the Tim Raines. This is the third time there's Tim Raines and Tim Raines Jr. played together too, and that was definitely a gimmick also. I think Tim Raines Jr. was called up well before he should have been, and he was just a mediocre minor leaguer, but it was the last couple games of the season, and he played with Tim Raines Sr. So that one, people don't really talk about that one, although Tim Raines is a Hall of Famer, so it had some significance. But since it was so gimmicky, it wasn't really that, it didn't drive a lot of excitement, I guess. So maybe this is along those lines. But I don't know. I think it's even more remarkable that it's the NBA, because players don't play that long. They don't have huge, they don't play into their 40s like they do in baseball. So it's a lot harder for this to happen.
Do you own the Tim Raines Jr. ticket?
I don't. It's kind of a weird one, because it was the 2001 season where they had where 9/11 extended the season a few games. So the ticket to find is I think September. It's in September sometime, because that was the date that they played. So it's you don't see them very often, actually, and they should be more common than that, I think. The Tim Raines one.
Well, I think you need to add this to your collection to add to your Griffey Jr.
Yeah, it's a set of 3 now. You need all 3 of them.
That's right. Load up.
And then whoever comes next. But it is a remarkable. I don't know. I think that this is like on par with the Griffey thing. Obviously I'm biased, so I prefer the Griffey, but it is a remarkable event, I think.
Yeah, I think it's cool. And I like the ticket too. So a little surprised it's still out there. Yeah. Moving along. Goldin had a pretty big auction, and I kind of wanted to touch through a few of these. Did you get a look at any of the sales on Goldin?
Yeah, I looked at a few of the tickets that sold.
So I just kind of started in order with the highest priced. And I know there's some talk on boogers. And this BGS 5, which I think most people thought would probably be a PSA 2, if we were to guess, went for $34,770.
Is that what a 2 would go for? You think that's?
I thought this was a really good price.
Yeah.
Kind of, I pulled some past comps that actually sold on Goldin, so we can actually take a look. Just gotta pull up in January 27th of this year. This PSA 2, here's your 2.
Yeah.
Went, like I said, looks kind of similar, right? I don't know if there's anything crazy on the back. Went for $19,500.
And that was when? That was
January 27th of this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
And then another one went for 18.3, which, I mean, this is authentic. That looks nice, but the paper loss on the back.
Yeah.
The front looks really nice. Went for in December of 23 for 18.3. So I think this is the closest comp, and it almost went for almost double. Then
Yeah, and when you were looking it up, is that the most recent one that you could find?
That's the most recent off the top of my head. I looked at Heritage. I don't know if Leland's had ones, but it's I think it's the closest. There might be one other one out there, but that was kind of the range I remember seeing. So when I saw it go above 30, I was like, oh wow, that's a really nice sale. Then other people are like, oh, that's low. It would have been more if it was PSA, but I was like, would it? I don't know if the Beckett 5 made it go higher because it was a Beckett 5.
Yeah, I mean this. Okay, so first of all, this one eyeballs higher than a 2, just from what I can see. It's hard to tell unless there's a crease or something.
There's a little something right here.
Yeah, the corners are a little edgy. Corner's not great. But I would guess this might get a 3 with the way that they grade now. Who knows?
Maybe.
I could see it even coming back at a 4. But
how they grade this stuff pretty tight. Like that one I have, which is 4.
I know, and it just depends. I've gotten some back that recently that were 3s that I thought it looked like a PR1, but yeah. So let's say it is in the 2 to 3 range, and the last one was. I wonder what I wonder is if because it's been so long since one sold that it's kind of back. Those ones that we were looking at last year, it seemed like one was popping up in every major auction, right? Last year.
For a while they were popping up, but then there was a pretty good lull where they kind of stopped. And then this past December, you saw, oh, there's one in December. Oh, there's another one 2 months later.
Right.
And then there's another 7-8 month lull or 10-month lull.
Yeah.
And this one came back up. So I thought that was a really solid sale, to be honest.
Yeah. And I honestly don't think that the Beckett changed it. I think that when you're talking about a rare ticket that is highly desired, I don't think that the slab really matters a whole lot, honestly. It doesn't to me, because you're buying the ticket, not the slab.
Right. And that's a good discussion because, Beckett charges way less than PSA would. If you're going to grade this at PSA and they know it's a $20,000 ticket, I mean, what do you paying on that? Like a couple grand?
3,000-4,000, something like that. It's insane.
And you could probably slide this into Beckett for, I mean, a few. Granted, if you ship it, you don't want to do that. But I mean, I could walk it in and I could probably put it in some crazy low amount and they would probably grade it. And you're talking saving thousands, and they give you a higher grade. Yeah, and maybe it all evens out. So I mean, that's some things to think about. I think about that when, I have something very specific I want written or very long on the, on the font, the type here. And I think about the cost and I think about the grade. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm going to roll with Beckett on this one because it's going to save me $1,000 when I grade something sometimes.
When was the last time that you submitted to Beckett?
I usually submit about once every couple months. It's whenever basically I go pick up my stuff, I usually have another submission ready. So about every 2 or 3 months, I'll give them some stuff.
And that's how long it takes, 2 or 3 months?
Yeah, about 2 or 3 months.
And you actually physically drop it off?
Yeah, I go in there.
But you go through the process and fill it all out online and submit and then go drop it off.
Well, you actually just submitted PSA and Beckett there at the Dallas Card Show, which was nice. I know PSA's doing a thing where they are getting with GameStop and you can submit your items at GameStop. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I don't think I would ever do that. Is that just where you hand it to them and they do all the process?
Basically I don't know all the details yet, but basically that you can take them in. You could probably do both. You could probably print your stuff out or you could have them fill it out.
Let me give you some background on myself. I am a business owner and I run retail locations that have done business with GameStop, but also in a similar setting as GameStop. I would imagine the employees that they hire are similar to the employees that we have. And I would not
You
I would not ever
recommend it?
leave my valuables with people who work at GameStop. I'll just say
You
that.
wouldn't have your Jackie debut resubmitted and dropped
Yeah.
off at GameStop?
Yeah, I don't know if they have some sort of kind of business within a business going on, but if it's just GameStop employees, I wouldn't do it.
Definitely will not be handing over my tickets to a high school stoner. No way I'm giving any of tickets to any GameStop associates.
Yeah.
Associate.
Yeah, I think associate is a more appropriate term than high school stoner.
Moving along. Also, on a side note, I had my first ticket shipped out. They got lost. It's gone. It got
Really?
somewhere in California, and UPS just doesn't know where it is.
Oh,
It's like
UPS.
a $600 ticket that I shipped to somebody. So,
well, if it was USPS, I would say it's probably going to show up someday. But UPS, it's gone.
I think I agree with you on that. Other ticks, man, couple of these have just been going wild. The WrestleMania Rip Stub. I mean, they consistently go for 5,000 to 7,000, 8,000, up to 10,000 a pop.
Just for standard stub.
Standard stub Rip WrestleMania 1. It's pretty amazing. And
now, do you think this is going to be like WrestleMania 3, where back a few years ago everybody thought they were rare, and turns out they're not, and there's tons of them out there?
I don't. I mean, they're definitely popping up, I think, because people realize how valuable they are. But it was in Madison Square Garden, which is, a fifth, probably held about 15,000.
Is large, yeah.
So you may see these continue to trickle out, but the thing is, they continue to be bought up at high prices. It's not like the prices they've dropped. One sold, another one sells. They're very, very strong. And I know a guy on Facebook had 2 fulls. He was trying to unload. He won, I think, 18,000 for the pair. They had some writing on them, that whole NFS, NFT.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, I think it's almost worth it. But then, by the time you ship them, grade them, get them back, fees, it's like, I don't want to mess with the whole trying to flip them and paying that much money. Man, these Jeter debuts have really surprised me how much they've held up. And what's your thoughts on what these have been going for?
Yeah, same here. I don't, it's Jeter, and we've talked about this plenty, and I follow these obviously because I don't have one, and I would like to get one, but I'm not. But this price is way out of anything that I would pay for it. I was in on this until it got to 5,000, until it got past 5,000, and then I was out. I knew I wasn't gonna win it, but you never know with Goldin auctions. Sometimes things don't sell for, but it seems like tickets haven't been doing that lately. Tickets have been going for strong prices lately. It's harder to get these steals that you're just kind of scratching your head why it went so low. So who knows? But yeah, strong price on this, and I don't think that it's going to go down.
Have you never ended up with a Jeter debut? I'm kind of surprised you don't have one.
Because it's always more than what I'm willing to pay. Because in my view, Jeter's overrated.
Yankee
and I know I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong about that, but that's just how I feel. And so I can't get myself to spend the money that, on a relatively modern ticket that is, I know there's a lot of them out there, or I know there's a lot more out there than the pop report indicates, but it doesn't seem to matter. The more come out, then it's just more people that will spend that kind of money for them. And so, it's one of those that isn't going to go the opposite direction. It's kind of like a Mantle debut. There's so many of them, but there's just a huge demand for it. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've been a little surprised too how well they've held up, but I guess it's the Yankee Jeter effect so strong.
Yeah.
Other tickets. Hey, this was actually my ticket I put in Goldin. I kind of did a little test run, this Tiger Woods debut. And it's interesting because I got an offer for it for like $1,600 on eBay that I turned down. I was like, I'm gonna let it roll on Goldin. And I actually messaged the buyer, and I wonder if he ended up with it. And that's kind of almost where it ended up, was 1708. So that was kind of
Is
right.
that consistent with how those have been selling recently?
Yeah, I think it is not a huge demand. I think the professional, when he was 16 debut is the one everybody wants. This is kind of the secondary one. There's a lot more of these out here. There's a lot more. There's a lot of fulls out there. I kind of would like to have a full. I value the one where he's 16 a lot more, but this is actually a pretty nice one, and I think it's a good, fair deal.
So was this your first time submitting at Goldin, you said?
No, I've done some other ones. I kind of like to do more of the non-baseball or football. I like the basketball famous pop, Tiger Woods, I think is such an international draw. So I was kind of curious to see if this would do anything crazy, but no, it's pretty standard. So
the process for submitting just one item that's kind of not a huge dollar amount, but not nothing, is it the same as you would do normally?
Yeah, I have a history with them, so they can give me I think they give me +5, where I get the final price plus 5% of the buyer's fee. So which is kind of nice.
Okay.
So I think overall I came out ahead compared to eBay.
Yeah. Interesting.
This was interesting with the Jordan signed. Of course, anything Jordan signed is going to go for his ton, 70th win. I was interested in this ticket. I didn't keep fighting. This one says it was MK, and I couldn't find a mark anywhere on it, but I'm sure once you get into it. But these MK stuff, like, it just turns people off so much. But like this ticket, you can't even freaking find a mark. So I'm like, where's the mark at? Like,
I've had tickets like that where I've got them back from PSA. It said MK, and I could not find anything on it. I honestly thought it was an error. I thought they did it by mistake, because there's no way, you can't imagine that they're really examining these super close and they could find, would they really designate MK if there was just a tiny, tiny little mark somewhere that was not discernible by the naked eye? I don't know.
But that's kind of, like I said, I kind of bowed out when it got up past 3. Brady debut, just a lot of random one of these out here. I don't know. I'm so tired of seeing these tickets.
Well, this one's remarkable, I thought, because it's this same ticket. Not the exact same ticket, but a full Brady debut that was signed at the peak of the bubble, sold for, I think, $175,000. Remember that?
Yes, this is insane. Insane.
So yeah, if somebody wants to make an argument that the ticket market has collapsed, this would be what you would use. But as we know from paying attention to everything, that it's not. It's just certain tickets have really had explosions and then collapsed, but it's certainly not all of them.
Right. Some tickets were very bubblicious, and that was
one of them.
Some guy just unloading his Brady's. These are some 10-10s, first start, first win. This was another one I think went for over 100,000. Remember us talking about this? It was a heritage ticket. I don't know if this is the same one, but it went for 5,400. I need to pull that up. The heritage Tom Brady ticket.
Yeah,
because it's incredible how much those went for. But yeah, you remember the peak of the bubble. Here, I'll just do this real quick. Tom Brady.
Yeah, ticket. And I remember talking about it on the show and saying things like, I would be careful because there's a good chance that more of these are going to come out, even though at the time Tom Brady's autograph was impossible to get. And now you can get it. You just have to pay a fortune for it. But who knows in the future what that'll be like when he's not quite as famous, or maybe, doesn't care as much. Maybe when he's in his 60s.
Oh, here. Yeah. So here, 144,000.
I forgot about this one.
Unbelievable.
Is that that's not the exact same ticket, is it?
No, it's not the exact same one. 10-10. Wait, is it? It is. It's the exact same one. Unbelievable. That can't. Do you think? Oh my God. 5,000, 5,490 went from 100. Is that a real sale, you think? I mean, was this a pump? 144,000, and now it's at 5. Now it's at 5,490.
It's hard to believe. I mean, but yeah, we saw some crazy stuff back then. And don't forget back then fractionals were buying this type of stuff too. And I don't know if that played into it at all, but they've collapsed and liquidating, so who knows. But yeah, that's a big loss. That's a big L.
That is just crazy. See anything other ones that really stood out. Goldin, I can't really break up just the tickets. They always gotta, when I click the little button, it shows me all the cards too. So that's why they're all jumbled in here. The cards that have this one. This was a Mike Violi purchase I was very excited about.
Oh, nice.
Havlicek stole the ball, program, and ticket. Only one or two have been graded. I bought it for a little over $1,000. I thought that was an amazing price with the program. And the program was pretty cool. Like, people like, oh, don't touch it. Well, the guy actually scored the game of it. And then the program, got Havlicek on it. And I thought, I was like, man, to get both of these, like, I love getting the little extra on top of it. I mean, the only downside is the ticket stapled.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, do you leave it or do you pop it off?
No, you definitely pop it off. There's because one, the staple over time will continue to destroy the paper on the ticket. So you definitely want that off of there. But also you want to get it slabbed and protected and, have it be separate as far as its presentability goes. I don't know. I no way would I leave it on there. I would take it off first thing.
Yeah, so I was actually, I bid it. And I was like, man, if I can get this for this price, this would be awesome. And then nobody bid again. I was like, man,
great. Yeah, I think that's a really good price.
The combo.
I'm not really familiar with the ticket. I know of the ticket, but as far as the market goes and how many are out there and everything, but you can't imagine that there's too many. It's not, something that you see a lot of, at least. So,
he asked with the disclaimer. They mentioned something about PSA is graded the other side of the ticket, and Beckett's graded this side of the ticket. Because I guess they've been ripped on opposite sides. That little disclaimer in there. They ripped on PSA. Has a graded ticket of the other end of the ticket. So they're like, oh, this is a side that hasn't been graded by PSA, but Beckett is graded this side of the ticket. I still think it's,
So somebody got the audit stub and sent it in? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's basically like the other side of the ticket, which maybe
so the audit
was part of the why I got it that price, but says, still ball have been authenticated and graded by Beckett, seen here. However, PSA is only authenticated, graded, and slabbed the left side stubs. So it's kind of like PSA.
Click on that scene here. Click on that scene here. I want to see what the other one looks like.
Like the same thing, really.
So is it?
Here it is.
Oh, and that's the same ticket as just that side of it.
Right, it's the opposite side.
I wonder.
And then you go.
How that happened.
Because, I don't know. See, now here's the Beckett side, the same side that is on the program.
Wait, but then what's the ticket? So the ticket on the program was graded? How did it get graded?
No, it's not graded. They're just saying PSA graded the other side. Maybe they.
But how did it get into a Beckett slab?
No, like this is another random ticket that is just this version, this side of the same one I bought. Like this is the right side of the ticket.
Right.
And then PSA has graded left side of the tickets.
But
so that's
PSA
the left
wouldn't
side.
Grade the right side?
They may not grade. I guess they're trying to say PSA may not grade the right side, which I don't think that is right.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. PSA will grade the audit stub. They might designate it as an audit stub, but I don't think this is the audit stub. I think the other one was the audit stub. Yeah, confusing. Confusing. Sorry.
Okay. Moving along. Let me see if there's anything else that really stuck out. The Sandberg game. I bet some diehard Cubby fans went after this one.
That's a high price for that.
I'm telling you. All right. I don't know if I'm going to call the top on this, but I feel like auto tickets have reached peakish value. Like I feel like they're fully valued almost at this point.
Yeah.
You know, they've gone up so much in the last year or two. It's like, how much more room do some of these auto tickets have around? And the other flip side of this is a lot of the same tickets are getting autoed over and over and over and over again, where the supply is increasing exponentially.
Yeah,
I swear I see Jerry Rice, Bo Jackson, you know, the Strimskys, the Kirk Gibson, they like sign over. Hulk Hogan's another one, man. He signs like crazy. Yeah, you see the same people.
I think there's one exception, and that is the rare ticket of the player who has passed away.
Yes,
maybe I haven't seen the ceiling of that. So, and it doesn't even really matter what the ticket is, but if it's rare and the player is no longer with us, that could still go. And so then that brings up the reason why everybody's chasing the guys who are around, because they see that kind of, pot of gold once they pass away. But I don't think that's going to happen when there's so many of them out there. So who knows?
I think we're on the same page on that one. But that's a cool ticket, especially if you're a big Cubbies fan. WrestleMania 2, which is a little history lesson. WrestleMania 2 was actually at 3 separate venues, even though this was a closed circuit TV ticket.
Mm-hmm.
They played part of it on the Jumbotron or wherever they had back then. I don't even know if they did that, if they had the Jumbotron. But basically, if you're watching it pay-per-view, they were like, well, now we go to Chicago, or now we go to, Nassau Coliseum. Now we go to LA. So even though it says closed circuit TV, this was actually a live event with live wrestling.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that. I did not know.
$1,400.
I thought, anytime you see a boxing or wrestling that's closed circuit TV, it's kind of nothing, because it just meant somebody was watching it on TV.
Yeah, so people who try to collect all the early WrestleManias, some of these WrestleMania 2s are really hard to find.
Yeah.
Just for one reason or another.
But did they all say closed circuit TV?
I'm not sure about the other 2. But they were all, kind of at the same time. They say it really didn't go very well. It was very awkward, and they didn't do it again.
Could imagine.
Thoughts?
Yeah. I thought that this one went for about what I thought it was going to go for, right around 10,000.
Damn, I mean, to me, I thought that was really high price.
Well, how is Mariano Rivera so much different than Derek Jeter?
Oh, come on.
Well, he's the greatest ever. The difference is that Mariano Rivera is the greatest ever. He's the GOAT.
Oh, gosh.
Isn't he? He's the best closer in the history of the game, and he probably always will be, because of the way that they use closers now. So, and it's true that closers aren't a desired, usually a desired player for collectors, but I think Mariano Rivera might be different because he's a Yankee, and he was the only unanimous Hall of Famer in history, and he's a good guy. People appreciate that about him.
Was you have one? Did you have a full?
No, I have just regular Stub.
It's regular Stub.
Yeah. So, but that was about what I would.
That's what you expected.
Speaking of big drops in price, though, the other one that sold at Goldin a couple of years ago sold for $33,000, I think. So
yeah, that's part of the Bubblicious era.
Yeah.
This is one that I really like, and it went for George Bush signed ticket. I think it actually has some weird inscriptions, like to somebody or something weird.
Yeah.
That kind of gets into my political talk. So I just want to show some of the most famous political tickets since the election is around the corner. The Ford Theater tickets.
Yeah.
sold for $265,000. The Lincoln assassination. The JFK welcome dinner, which I think is a pretty cool ticket. Versus Lyndon B. Johnson, or not verse, but Lyndon LBJ. And then has a date on it. This one, which I had to laugh, which sold for $98,000 at Sotheby's, 94.5, which was a Revell ticket, which was one of the most crazy sales ever. Yeah. But they said the money went through. And I think that was it. Did you have any hot political ticket opinions, commentary?
I don't really get into political tickets, and I know that there is a market for that, and a lot of people are into that. But I feel like it alienates half of your market. If whatever it is, there's probably half the country that thinks it's awful, and then half the country wants it. So it's like half the number of people who are potential buyers, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Unless it's this old stuff. Obviously, the old stuff like the Lincoln,
Right.
I'm talking more modern politicians that we remember or we lived through.
It says Mike is going for record for most tabs open on a web browser. That's right. Damn it.
I don't even think you're close. I think you've had more than this.
Takes a lot of time to organize all these tabs. I don't know if there's any other Goldin. Let me see.
Do you have any political tickets in your collection?
I have that Bush first pitch. I have a couple of those. Other than that, I don't think I have any other ones. This say I want to bring up. This was actually pretty impressive. It was a Jordan debut, the blue version, probably the second best version, 6, extremely high version. Yeah, maybe the highest for the red or the blue. $65,000. Like, wow, higher than one of the reds that went for like 55.
Yeah. Would you rather have a high grade blue or a lower grade?
I have rather have a lower grade red, but this is really nice. I mean, this is as clean as it gets. So
yeah,
but I wouldn't pay that for this. I'd rather have the red.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. There's not. If you look at the pop report, and I've looked recently, and I was surprised at how many there are now. I think it's past 70. If you add up all of them, the blue, all the different variations, and the Ticketmaster, but there's still a very low number of the reds, and I think that's less than 15. So that's kind of the most desired one that is tough to find.
No doubt. I think that's about it. I don't think I got anything. I can start closing some of these tabs out. Clean them up. But yeah. Woo. I want to see if I got anything other things. You got one.
I have a pickup to share. Yeah. This was at the REA auction, and it is Steve Carlton's first win. That goes with. I like to pair these up. So this is Steve Carlton's debut, and then this is his first win. So these are. This is one of those cases where the first win is probably more rare than the debut. And so to me, it's more desirable just because of the rarity. And I think in Steve Carlton, 300 wins. I think he's second all time in left-handed pitchers for wins. So to get his first win and considering it's so rare compared to his debut, I think a no-brainer. Picked it up at REA.
Nice. I feel like REA is your is it your favorite auction?
It's definitely the one that I look forward to most when they come out with a new auction. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely very baseball heavy. I actually did pick up a random. I don't know. I always kind of wanted one of these. I guess I probably jinxed them. It wasn't very expensive at all. It was a Jeter debut. Box office is an 8. It was like less than $200. I was not Jeter, Judge.
Oh, Judge.
Judge debut. And I like it mainly because I think it's a cool box office. I like it better than the season version. And he hit a home run in this game, so it's his first home run. And the guy's a freaking home run machine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think it's a cool
almost
ticket.
I think that it's important when the player either, like, I think of Randy Johnson's first win was his debut also. And I think it makes it more appealing when those are combined, when they have the stat that they were most known for, like Judge with the home run.
Right.
In their debut.
Yeah, but those aren't super rare by any means, but I think just a cool ticket. Kind of one to pick up for a while. Cool to get it autoed, but that'd probably be a little difficult. I'm sure he's not doing a signing anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I think that's really about it. Did you have anything else?
I don't. That covers it.
All righty. Well, thanks for everybody watching. I'm sure we'll be back. Ooh, I don't know. Holidays come up. Try to fit one in before Thanksgiving. After that, might be a little tough.
Yeah. Got some trips coming up.
For sure. All right. Thanks for joining and have a good one.
Stay safe tomorrow.
No doubt.